helping. Something hard?
Yes, can I help you?
Wish I could say all's well that ends well, but unfortunately it doesn't work like that. As we started back for Folka, I decided the kids and I needed to have a serious talk. All right, spill it. Why'd you all go into the woods alone?
Noobs was in trouble, and, you know, it's the duty of a knight to help people. I just thought we had to save him.
Skip spoke down to his shoes. I felt my heart drop. It's the duty of a knight to help people. Those had been my words, so I was to blame for this whole mess. Skies above, why do I always... But before I could chase this dark train of thought any further, a small tug on my sleeve brought me back.
All those survival skills you taught us really helped.
Yeah, thanks to you, we were able to properly locate food and water. And hide from monsters.
I was so proud of them. But now was not the time to encourage their recklessness with praise. Do you realize how worried everyone was? If anything bad happened, your friends would be hurt big time, and not to mention your families. Yes, as knights, you have a duty to protect. But as people, you have a duty to your loved ones. So remember, the Tykes chimed in for this next line.
Know when to ask for help.
Okay, now it was time to be proud. Crouching so I was eye to eye with the Blue Sky Knights, I held out my pinky. It's a promise, okay? An oath between knights. I recently returned to Folka to find the Tykes holding a serious discussion. According to Skip, they were in big trouble for marching deep into the woods without adult supervision. As punishment, the Blue Sky Knights had to disband. The kids didn't look too upset, though. Au contraire. Skip stood feet apart, head high, one fist reaching for the sky.
Today, we form the Order of Vane.
Guess they'd found a loophole. I mean, what did the grown-ups expect? These kids were joined at the hip.
No one's found the hideout yet. I say we train there till we're all super cool knights like Vane.
Kids and their stupid dreams, right? You know, I never thought that one day I'd have a group of mini-me's, which is nice, but also kind of scary. 'Cause what if you set a bad example, let them down the wrong path, on and on? It's enough to make you want to run and hide. But that's not what knights do. We stand our ground. We support each other. And with the best friends in the skies looking out for me, I know I can become just the kind of hero these kids deserve.
All right, see you.
was wrong with them? They would have been toast without you.
Vern flew beside me, seething. We are strangers to this land. Those soldiers have a reputation to uphold.
Yeah, but doesn't it get you riled up when people are so rude?
I laughed. If rudeness were the worst foe we ever faced, we'd be lucky warriors indeed. In truth, I empathize with them. It is the duty of a soldier to fight. Incompetence on the battlefield is a matter of great shame. My unwanted assistance was salt in the wound.
I guess I could see that, but still.
Listen, no one was badly hurt. That is all that matters. I had trained many knights in my day. They had gone through their growing pains, and tasting defeat and humiliation. Yes, failure is bitter, but it is nourishment. And thus the knights learned and grew, each and every one of them, into powerful warriors. When it came to the finer points of warfare, the forces of Seed Hollow were clumsy at best. But their sense of duty was unparalleled. Upon hearing rumors of danger, they had acted swiftly, marching without fear to the monster's den. And though they had been forced to the very cusp of annihilation, not a soldier had wavered or fled. Now, they too had drunk deeply of the medicine of defeat. I believe it would course through them like fire and bring them newfound strength. The forces of Seed Hollow were capable of much, much more. I entered the warm wooden interior of my cabin on the Grand Cipher, carrying an armful of books. I laid them on the desk, drew out a chair, and took a short trip through Seed Hollow's history. Unbroken peace. For 500 years after the ending of the war, violence had not troubled the skies of Zega Grande. There were your usual skirmishes, of course, power-hungry rebels, etc., but nothing so big it had not been quickly sorted out and buried in the sands of time. However, 15 years ago, tragedy on Dolly Island acted as a catalyst to the rise of Avia. Hitherto peaceful primals went on rampage, and hordes of monsters were drawn to the carnage. So that's why. I thought back to the disordered ranks of the forces of Seed Hollow. Peace had dulled their senses. They had forgotten how to handle swords and spears, forgotten how to manage monsters, each one vastly different in shape and movement. They need guidance. The people of Seed Hollow seem to be gardeners, fond of orchards and good rich earth. They had no love of war, nor possessed the means for a great campaign. Unless a revolution were to completely reshape this country, I did not believe it would ever pose a threat to Fiendrock. Its forces existed not to invade, but solely to defend. But now, they had not even the power to do that. Seed Hollow soldiers were steadfast and honorable. I had seen that. But they no longer knew how to protect their land. I had come to admire the delicate flowers and many bowed trees that flourished in this clime, and did not wish to see them trampled under a monster's claw or an invader's boot. I could offer Seed Hollow's forces counsel, but I would have to tread carefully. After all, I was a foreigner, and a former captain of knights. One misstep, and I could forever sour the relations between Seed Hollow and Fiendrock. I will have to be discreet. I threw on my traveling cloak and arranged my pouch. Hearing no footfalls outside my room, I slipped through the door and padded softly down the corridor.
Oh, hey, Siegfried. You heading out?
Vern spotted me on the deck of the Grand Cipher. So much for stealing off unnoticed. I'm going for a walk.
On your tiptoes? No way, man. I bet you're going on another one of your secret missions.
Though small, Vern had inherited the legendary wisdom of the dragons. Guilty as charged. But the fewer people who know about it, the better. Can you keep this from the others?
Come on, Siegfried. We all know you only act for truth and honor and justice and all that. If you're gonna disappear, you should at least tell your captain. My butt'll understand.
I could find no objection. It seemed that all the adventures Vern had been on, all the grand and wondrous things he'd seen, had sharpened his insight. Yes, of course. You're right. I followed Vern to the captain's cabin. I've come to ask for permission to leave on a private mission. But I must warn you, if things go wrong, it could spell trouble for the crew. My throat was tight, light nerves, I supposed, and a touch of guilt. The captain did no more than smile and wish me a safe journey.
What'd you expect? We trust you.
Fortune truly had graced me with the best of companions. I strode through the gates of Seed Hollow.
So, what you gonna do here?
With a dragon on my tail. I would like to ask you the same question. Why did you follow me?
Curiosity. What's a cool knight like you always doing when he leaves the Grand Cipher?
Curiosity killed the lizard. But no matter. Vern and the captain had offered me their complete trust, so I could do the same in return. Besides, if anything were to happen, I'd be there to protect him. You're welcome to stay, but I am only visiting Seed Hollow's forces again to offer help if I may. Nothing of interest.
Sounds like something my bud would do, but I thought you were gonna leave them alone to help them save face or whatever.
I was, but I realized that, in the end, the safety of the people is too heavy a price to pay for pride.
That's fair. No offense though, Siegfried. Your way with words is a little, special. So I'll just come along and do the talking.
20 minutes later, Vern and I were in the heart of Seed Hollow, watching its soldiers scurry about like mice. 500 years of peace has truly taken its toll. Seed Hollow's forces had become only an army in name. In truth, the military affairs of the country were run by Zothba, a civilian and information broker. Everyone took orders from him.
Dispatch from Zothba. We got a lost child on our hands. Everyone, split up and search for the mother. Yes, sir!
Man, you ever just get lost and have a whole army look for your mom?
Vern hovered by the branches of a tall oak, surveying the commotion with shining eyes. It is important to serve your people in times of concord as in times of strife, but I fear they have lost sight of their true duty. There is a saying, it is better to be a warrior in a garden than a gardener in a war. Peace should never so lull a nation that its defenses are abandoned and its soldiers turned into clerks and errand boys.
Captain, new orders just came in. We're being sent to clear a horde of goblins camped right outside the city.
Now these errand boys faced hordes of monsters who had been roused by Avia's machinations. 500 years of stillness, nature, and peace gone. All at the whim of a madwoman.
You hear that, troops? Prepare for battle! Drive those goblins away from our homes!
Yes, sir!
They sure got bark. Problem is, they ain't got bite.
Are you worried about them?
Aren't you? You saw them get their butts kicked into the next item just a few days ago.
I did, but failure is the mother of success. I readjusted my gauntlet and shifted my sword on my back. This is a chance for them to grow. I'll make sure of it. Vern and I left Seed Hollow and turned off the road, beating a straight path to the goblins' encampment through trees and underbrush. We arrived before the soldiers. In front of us, half hidden in the darkness of a cave, slinked the forms of dozens of goblins. Alone, goblins are not much of a threat, but when they're allowed to form hordes,
Oh, I know all about those smart little suckers. They can plot stuff and coordinate and everything.
I smiled. Vern was as much of a veteran as I was.
So earlier, you sounded like you were gonna help these soldiers out. What exactly have you got planned?
As you know, all monsters are different and must be dealt with in different ways. We shall teach these tactics to the soldiers, but from the shadows. Plan rehearsed, Vern and I crept from the shade of the trees and into the mouth of the cave.
Ready? Our mission awaits.
We've got to break their formations. First, let's go for a frontal assault on the sentries.
The army from Seed Hollow will be here any minute now! Hurry!
Don't worry, we won't even need a minute.
Push through!
We made it! Looks like the soldiers are still prepping for the fight.
Perfect. That gives us just enough time to thin down their main ranks.
Get a move on! The soldiers are almost ready to charge! More gobbles! Man, there's a lot of them!
Well, let's fix that, shall we?
Push through! You don't know? This is power!
I can't believe they had so large a force. It's a good thing we came.
Push through! This is power!
Reinforcements! You got this, Siegfried!
Stay the course! Stand strong!
Fast enough!
Push through! Push through! This is power! Meet your doom! Prove your strength! Push through!
Nice work! I think the soldiers can pick off what's left.
I think there are a few more goblins hidden, but likely not enough to reverse the tide. We had still better conduct a search, just to be safe. Let's go in deeper.
Look! It's a goblin soldier! And what are those? Its little sidekicks?
I don't think Seed Hollow's forces will be able to handle this. We should at least bring down the goblin soldier.
So leave all the small fry alone? Got it. Don't want to rob Seed Hollow's finest of a job. Maybe that could work.
Push through! This is power!
Hello?
Ready! Just getting started. Your end is nigh!
Well, I think we're done here. The army from Seed Hollow should be capable of handling the rest.
All right, let's head deeper in. Stay together and stay focused.
Aw, snap! Seems like they caught up. Let's hide!
Holy Bahamut! We did it!
The day is ours. Good work, troops.
Vern and I crouched behind a craggy boulder and watched as the soldiers strode about the battlefield. Not a goblin was left. The voices of the triumphant rose up and resonated about the high, cool walls of the cavern. All went well.
I guess, but those soldiers took a heck of a beating.
Vern perched himself on top of the boulder, head cocked to one side. They will continue to grow. They have experience now, and what's more, confidence. They will learn to keep their wits about them in battle, to observe the enemy and strategize.
If you're sure, there's something I've been wondering about though, Siegfried. You didn't have to help these people. You're not even getting paid for this. So why go through the trouble?
I laughed softly. I think you already know the answer to that riddle. Because everything good in this world is worth protecting.
Yes, can I help you?
Three days after the victory in the caves, Vern rushed into my cabin.
Dude, he's here! The captain of Seed Hollow's army is here!
Here, on the Grand Cipher. My eyebrows drew themselves together. I was quite certain we hadn't been seen.
Do you think he figured us out?
No, that shouldn't be possible. I had lived and worked in the shadows for many years. I knew how to remain invisible. Let us meet him in any case. It would be discourteous to turn him away.
Agreed! We're lots of things, but rude ain't one of them.
Vern led me to a spacious room on the Grand Cipher, where our guest sat perched on the edge of a comfortable chair, his hands upon his knees. He stood up quickly when we entered.
It's, been a while.
He wouldn't quite meet my eyes. As the young man swallowed rather loudly, I recalled his last words to me. We can handle monsters without you swinging in to save the day. It has. I still regret my actions in the forest. Is that what you've come to talk about?
No,
He shook his head vigorously.
I'm here to thank you. You saved my life and the lives of my comrades.
So, our presence had been noticed. I swept my cloak back in a deep bow. I apologize for interfering yet again.
Oh, no, please, stop with the apologies. You're just making me feel worse. Listen.
He explained. 3 days ago, Seed Hollow's army had been called upon to drive back a horde of goblins. He had marched his company there with a heavy heart, expecting great losses. But to his surprise, when they emerged from the goblin den, they were not missing even a single soldier.
Goblins are intelligent. They post sentinels and form ranks, just like we do. Sword fighters and shield bearers in front, mages in back. Any battle with them should have been tough and bloody.
Yet these goblins had no set sentries, and their forces were meager and scattered. Even the large beast the goblins kept in reserve had been terribly weakened by the time Seed Hollow's forces reached it.
But what could have worn it out like that? A night of partying too hard? No. Someone had to have helped us, and luckily, I had an inkling who.
Now he raised his round, earnest face and looked straight at me.
There was this knight who'd saved my troops before. He wore jet black armor and carried a crimson sword.
Yeah, no way you'd forget that getup after seeing it once.
Vern peered down at my armor. It was matte black, so I could slip by in the night unseen. But I suppose outlined against the light of the sun, it cut quite a distinctive figure.
The rest really wasn't that difficult. Went with that description to a merchant who deals with a lot of foreign traffic, and learned about a former knight captain.
I see. Years away from the battlefield had dulled the army's swords. This I already knew. But now I realize it had allowed them to build rapport with their people, winning them trusted eyes and ears throughout their country.
If anyone should be apologizing, it's me.
Before I could stop him, he went down on one knee.
That day in the forest, I was frustrated and ashamed by the weakness of my troops. So I took it out on you. I'm sorry. You saved my soldiers not only once, but twice. And the second time around, you even made sure we learned from the experience. I really don't know how to make it up to you.
Vern and I looked at each other, surprised by the sincerity in his voice. Your kind words are more than enough, and your forgiveness. The young man opened his mouth, but I shook my head. Whatever the circumstances, I still trampled your pride underfoot.
What's pride when compared to life?
To speak the truth, I thought Seed Hollow's forces poorly trained and disorganized, from an outsider's perspective at least. By placing a hand beneath the man's elbow, I silently bid him rise. But I see now that you have strength and wisdom that was hidden to me. With you in command, I have no doubt your company will go on to accomplish great things.
That means a lot, coming from you.
He smiled, the tension melting from his frame.
But the fact remains that I let my soldiers get out of practice. You've helped me realize a lot these past few days, and I promise we'll train harder than ever, make up for lost time, and become the defenders this country deserves.
Good. Never stop believing in yourselves. Seed Hollow, a land of gardeners who derive joy from the bounty of flora and the simplicity of peace. Though they were no longer the mightiest of warriors, they were by no means weak. No more than the wildflower, who holds aloft its petals in dry soil and through battering storms. And like wildflowers, they would continue to grow and flourish. Though Seed Hollow is a small country now, perhaps in time, it will rise to become a mighty nation. When that day comes, it surely will make a valuable ally for Fiendrock.
Hey, is it just me, or have we been getting less monster hunting missions recently?
We, as all Skyfarers, were used to shouldering the quests of greatest peril. as we've seen more combat than most standing armies. However, though Zega Grande was as plagued by monsters as ever, we'd had a quiet few days.
I think I can explain.
Lyria raised her hand, eager to impart valuable intelligence.
Apparently, Seed Hollow's soldiers have been super on top of things lately. A monster appears, and before the Crew Alliance can even draft up a mission, they get in there and solve the problem.
Good for them, but less work for us means less jingle in our pockets.
Vern drifted to me from across the room and, positioning his snout by my ear, spoke in a whisper.
Guess they really got their act together, huh?
It would certainly seem so. I looked up at my small comrade in training. We exchanged a secret smile. Well done, troops. Well done.
Come again. Come to view the requests?
Clear blue skies, gentle breeze. It was perfect conditions for the Nautilus's maiden voyage. As the helmsman gripped the wheel, I knew he was no longer shackled by fear. Kent, Mechanic, the merchant, even Lyria, Vern, and some of our other crewmates. Actually, damn near the whole town showed up to witness the rebirth of an old friend. As the propellers began to churn, a metallic sputter sounded from somewhere below deck. It was a symphony of gears I'd heard time and time again. That mechanic, she'd done it. After a brief checkup, they started the countdown. Tension was palpable. Come on, Nautilus. All eyes were on the airship. No one dared to breathe. A wind whipped up around the Nautilus, and there it was. Liftoff. And once again, she sailed into those skies so blue. A few weeks had passed since the Nautilus took its maiden voyage. According to Kent, the Nautilus was now Folka's leading cargo ship. Makes sense, given that it was 3 times faster than any other ship on the island. And not only that, but it seemed Kent had found himself a new dream already.
Okay, picture this, Rackham. 3 ships conjoined into one massive cruise liner. See? All we need to do is reconstruct these columns here and...
I wonder if I sounded that crazy to the others whenever I got my big ideas. Anyway, such a massive ship would require at least 3 helmsmen. So in his effort to make the cruise liner a reality, Kent started studying how to be a helmsman himself. But if Kent were to be the second pilot, who would be the third?
About that, actually, we'd be honored to have you as the lead helmsman of our ship.
Of course. It was a kind offer, but I already had a family in my crew and a home in the Grand Cipher. But that didn't mean I couldn't let the kid down easy. Sorry, Kent. This Skyfarer's not old enough to set anchor just yet. Until that day comes, you can find me wherever the wind blows.
The day had arrived for Lev to show his parents the magic trick he learned from me. Was he going to be able to pull it off? I had to see for myself, so I followed them to a restaurant in town and sat at a nearby table. Somehow just watching was enough to make me nervous too.
I want to show you something.
Come on, you can do this! It's all about sleight of hand, remember? Lev showed his parents the palm of his empty hand and covered it with a handkerchief. Then he removed the cloth just like I taught him. But when he opened his hand, there was nothing there. I thought he must have made a mistake, but it turned out I was wrong.
I learned this trick so I could make others smile. You're actually supposed to have a present in your hand when you open it, but I couldn't think of what to give you.
Unable to hold in the tears any longer, Lev started to cry.
You both have done so much for me. I just couldn't find anything good enough.
He wiped away his tears with the back of his hand, his voice quavering slightly as he fought to get the words out.
I'm really sorry for running off and scaring you guys. But I was worried because you're always so busy. It hurt when you wouldn't listen to me, and I've been so lonely. Tried not to let it get to me, but it just ended up being too much.
We're sorry too, Lev. But don't worry. Soon we won't be as swamped anymore. There's supposed to be a big group moving to Folka from Seed Hollow soon. I hear at least one of them's a doctor.
Once things have settled down, we'll all spend some quality time together. I'd love to go shopping in Seed Hollow as a family. That sort of thing. You'd like that too, right, dear?
Of course. As long as we decide on a budget beforehand.
Way to go, Lev! Seeing them all smiling together like that reminded me of Master Sokka for some reason. Once we're back in Fanta Grande, I think I'll pay a visit to Vaults and tell him all about this little adventure. Sometime later, a brand new clinic was built in Folka. Apparently, the people of Tempule and Folka had chipped in to pay for it. A doctor really did move in from Seed Hollow, too, so Lev's parents were finally able to make more time for their son.
I'm gonna be a great doctor one day. I'll work super hard so I can give you a real present. Just you wait and see.
With an attitude like that, I have no doubt he'll make an amazing doctor. And besides, now he has my patented magic trick to put smiles on everyone's faces. When I peeked inside the clinic on one of our days off, I saw Lev chatting happily with the people of Folka. I'm sure this town will keep prospering even after we leave. The people here are tough. They'll overcome any hardship that comes their way. And that's what I believe anyway. After seeing the smile on Lev's face, how could I think otherwise?
All right, see you.
We got rare spirits, and not the kind that want to haunt